We are live. Hi, guys. While everybody is getting on, I'm sure some of you are about to go have lunch. It's smack in the middle of the day. But today we will be talking about a very important topic, which is the topic of sales, which is why I am bringing George back over here. While he is going to introduce himself and tell you a little bit about what background he is coming from and what he's doing with it now, I'm going to share this out into a couple of groups. So, George, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys. So my background is basically on sales. I started sales back about 12 years ago in the car industry. Rookie, green people would like to call us. That began my career as a salesperson, became a finance manager, sales manager, and now I create deals and processes. So I create sales processes for business, and I help them execute the right process to get more deals closed, and better clientele, better service, and the whole 10 yards.
Awesome. Thank you. So one of the things that all of us are at one point or another have a fear of, and that is sales, which is why we're talking about this important topic. And in order for us to have an amazing 2018, whether you are an entrepreneur, you're in sales yourself, or whether you are selling yourself every day, whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you have these tools that George will be sharing with us as well. So my first question to you is, were you ever fearful of making a sale?
Was I ever fearful? I think my first sale I ever made was my legs were shaking, my hands were sweating. My manager told me, go ahead and go out there and just tell them the payment. And I just went and did it. And it really comes down to that. It's always gonna be fear, whether you're closing down a small deal or you're a multi-million, you're buying a $1 million property or you're closing down $1 million deal. There's always gonna be that fear. What's really important is that you gotta get over that hump, and you just gotta put yourself out there, especially for new people in the sale industry. You really have to get over that fear and just realize that it's okay. You're gonna stumble. You're gonna get back up. But what people fail to realize that people buy from you. People buy because they like you most of the time. Because you're genuine, and you got them to trust you. The process will come. The process, you can learn the process with me, Google, or you go search it. But again, you're always gonna have fear. You have to go over.
Absolutely. And I think you brought up a really good point, is that people really buy you before they buy the product, right?
Correct.
So there's a lot of fear of being too pushy. A lot of times we relate, we relate sales to being pushy or to being sleazy. And you come out of an industry that is so well known for being pushy and sleazy in terms of automobile sales, yes, and so on. So what is the difference, or how do you make a sale and not come off pushy? How do you still follow up and all that good stuff?
Well, there's a couple ways of looking at that. One is that if you actually did the right process as far as, really got the customer the right product, whatever you're selling, really, the right product, figure out what they really want, and all you have to do is overcome objections. You have the right questions, and you don't come out as pushy. Pushy is when you, for example, you got the customer in a car that he absolutely does not like. Then you try to push that product into them where they really find out what they want. Then you come out as pushy. You really haven't done your job as a salesperson. Really, just common sense. Ask, what is it you don't like about the product? What is it you do like about the product? And then figure out what their needs are, and then sell that back to them. Really, all you do is selling back what they need back to them. They're gonna tell you what they need, and you're gonna go ahead and tell me, look, I found what you need. This is what you told me what you need. I'm just selling back to you. They shouldn't tell you no. If they do tell you no, then you find out why. You ask a question. It's fair to ask. Remember, you're there to do a profession. They're there to buy something from you. They didn't come there to see you. They didn't call you. They didn't look out for you just because they woke up one morning and say, you know what? I'm just gonna go look for George for no reason. No. They came to look for George because they wanted a car at the moment. They came to look for George because they wanted a process in place. They didn't just need George to show them why it's important for them to get that process, why they need it, why is the reason why they called in the first place, and then they'll go ahead and feel confident and close the deal with you. 99% of the time.
Absolutely. So building that relationship, and I think an important part of building that relationship is knowing that exactly what he said. People are coming to you for a reason, right? People want to be sold. If you're not selling them, you are actually doing them a disservice as well as yourself.
Correct.
Right?
That's a big point.
So in terms of building that relationship, would you say it's fair to call you a solution provider?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're solution providers. We're not, people who call us salespeople, we're sales consultants. We're not. We find solution for people's problems. So the way you got to look at it. You got to look at it as a win-win situation. You know what I mean? Also, you win by making a sale, but you also help them win by getting what they want. You know what I mean? When you're only trying to figure out, how to make the sale for myself and close the deal, you're not really looking for their benefit. That might be a one-time deal you do, but I'm guaranteed they never refer somebody to you again because the experience was not 100% there. So we're definitely a solution provider. Finding ways to piece the puzzle together and being creative and just going extra mile and and having that enthusiasm while you do it. And that's a big thing too, enthusiasm. A lot of people want to go extra mile, but you don't have the enthusiasm to do it. People react to you. If you're down about a sale, if you're down, then most likely they won't react well, and it's hard to close the deal. If you're enthusiastic about everything you do, even if it's a problem, you're like, you know what, we got it. We'll figure it out. Let's see what we can do for you. And you go ahead and act like that. I guarantee you they're going to react better, and they're going to give you the opportunity for you to show them how, or opportunity for you to show them, hey, you know what, I want to buy from you. That's all you need, an opportunity. When you get that opportunity, you get a little more until you close the deal. If you don't mind me, I kind of go back to dating. You can't go on the first date and expect to,
He's Cuban.
I'm Cuban, But take the first date, second date, third date, eventually you build a relationship and you go the whole marriage stuff like that. So it's step by step, kind of like when it comes to selling. It's step by step, then you get to the end goal, which is closing the deal and obviously paying yourself.
Right, because he's bringing up a good point about dating there. If you go straight in for the kill, you're going to come off as a creep, right? Yeah. So in sales, you're going to come off as pushy. So getting back to pushy, and definitely brought up a few good points, but to give our audience a little bit of an actionable, obviously consistency and follow-up is very important.
Yes.
Right? But a lot of people stop short of making the sale because they're not willing to follow up. They're not willing to be consistent simply because they feel that they're coming on too strong, that they're being too pushy. So how do you separate being pushy from being consistent and really going after the sale?
All right. So it's all about how you set the expectation. Okay. If you tell somebody you're going to follow up with them, they know you're going to follow up with them. Okay. So from the beginning, you always want to set them up for what to expect after. Hey, I'm gonna call you tomorrow, then I'm gonna call you a week after, then I'm gonna call you then a month after. Nothing wrong with that. They're gonna expect it. They're gonna tell you any reason why they don't want you to call you. Find out why, or see when do they want to call you. Obviously, you don't want to call them every single day, every hour, every minute. That might come as pushy, and then I'll probably hang up the phone on you. But as far as in the car industry or the sales process we create, you do want to stay in front of them. When I say stay in front of them, a call, an email, maybe a couple of days, just to make sure that they know that you're there. So when they're ready to pull the trigger, to make a decision, they're going to think of the person that's always there. You know what I mean? They're going to think of that person that always calls, that's always in front of them, that's sending that last email, that's active in the process. Because that's the person, the reality is the one that wants it the most. So you want to be in front of them. You don't want to fear, and you don't want to call too late either. Right. You don't want to get a customer right now, let's say it's going to be on Monday, and call them Friday just to follow up. You want to at least touch them by tomorrow, or the most the day after, just to touch them. Hey, thank you for coming in. Thank you for acquiring my services. Thank you for looking for me. Just at least thank you. You have any questions, things like that. That will get you kind of like, into the door. Then you follow up with another email. Then it's a different sales process where everybody has to follow up. but the follow-up will always have to be consistent, and that you're in front of the customer. I would say you have to be in front of somebody for them to buy from you. That's really the biggest thing.
Absolutely. And I think that you brought up a good point too, that you have to do what you're going to say. And guys, not every single one of you owns a business. Not every one of you is in sales. But again, sales is something that we do every single day. We sell ourselves, right? So we sell ourselves to if you're going to get a new job, if you're going to get a promotion, if you're going on a date, if you're making new friends, right? You're selling yourself. So if you are not reliable, if you are not responsive, if you are not doing the follow-up in friendships, right? We call it maintenance, right? If you're not maintaining your friendships, if you're not maintaining your relationships as well, 2018 is going to look a little bleak for you, right? So when we're talking about sales and we're talking about making a sale, it's not just about, making selling a car or making a sales process for your business. It truly is making a sale in your own business. And by the way, guys, I'm going to ask George a couple more questions, but if you guys want to put in some questions as well, you are welcome to do so. So you had mentioned, follow-up. What would you say is an appropriate amount of time before you follow up? Let's just say you go to a networking event, right? You're getting a couple of cards. You go to networking events, right?
Right.
So you get a stack of cards, right, guys? We all have those stack of cards we never did anything with. Can you walk us through your process of what you do with those business cards?
Well, for example, great question. I just went to a BNI meeting, and I met with a couple of people, and I met one doctor who was really interested in talking to me about my services. I told him immediately I would follow up with him just to say hello. So he already knew. He actually very sharp, and I told him that he expected me just to follow up, for no reason. And then I immediately called them right after, emailed them right after we left the place. Probably going to maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, let them know thank you for meeting them. It's a pleasure. Any questions, we'll have to meet for coffee and kind of get the relationship started back and forth. If he does not answer that email, I do have his number. I most likely will call him 2 to 3 days after, just to say we got the email, okay? And if you'd like to respond to there, or maybe we'll have a conversation over the phone. My outcome of that goal is to get an appointment to meet with him. Guys, when you do follow up, depending on always in any business you want to get an appointment or a confirmation to do some kind of solid meeting with them, because the phone not always meant to sell something. Let's say he doesn't pick up that phone, I will call him the same day, maybe in the afternoon, just to make sure. Sometimes they're busy in the morning, we'll call them afternoon because people have different schedules. Some people in the morning are busy, some people in the afternoon they're busy. Depending on their schedule, we'll call them afternoon. Voicemails, if I do leave a voicemail, unless the person really knows me, I'll leave a voicemail that's inviting to call me back. Not just something, generic, something inviting to call me back. If it doesn't pick up after that, then I'll go ahead and do maybe another follow-up email that day after, letting them know I called them, if supposed to get back to me. And then once that goes into that, then we'll go into what's called maintenance mode. Basically just kind of stay in touch with them maybe, once a week. Then after it goes into 2 weeks, just because you want to stay in touch with them. After a while, not hearing back from them, most likely they're not interested, so you kind of put it to the back and you focus on when they are. And you might hit them up again in, 2-3 months, after that. I know that the first few months of following up, after 2-3 months off, you hit them back with an email, see if they, they might be interested in talking to you again. But again, you have to go every lead or every person you talk to has to have the same process. That you will discard is the one that do want your services, the one that's just a network, and then the ones that are going to be services, those are going to turn into leads. But it has to be the same thing. You cannot change the way you do things for the one person that did not react well. You have to do the same way for the other 9 people. Your process will always have to be the same way for the 9 people, not the one person that changed your mentality.
So at which point do you tweak that process? For how long do you go on doing the same thing if you're not seeing results from that same thing?
Well, if you're not seeing results, then obviously, I always give it in 3 months of how to see results. You're not going to see results in 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. Everything you do, advertising, sales, process, you always got to give it 3 months. I said 3 months of consistent doing the same process to see the results. I always say the first month could be luck, second month could be also luck, but the third month you do it, then you're onto something. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. So after 3 months, you're not seeing results in your process, you're not seeing results in them returning an email. It could be as simple as your subject line. If after 3 months you're seeing that your subject line not getting any feedback, you might have to change your subject line. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to email subject lines, and George, I'm going to answer your question as well over there. But when it comes to emails and subject lines, guys, remember that you can actually do A/B testing. And I think that you could also go ahead and do that in, in follow-up in terms of calls, right? Can't you have a group that you test this particular method on, and maybe a group that you can test a different method on?
Because if your group is big enough, you could test different ways of emailing different customers, but you don't want to put too much tests out there. You want to keep it to 1 or 2. I mean, you want to have one. You have 5, 6, 7 different ways of doing it. You really don't know what's working. You want to have 1 or 2, maybe 3 ways of, what emails you sent them, what was the initial email, what's a follow-up email, and see how that process is working for you.
Right.
When you have too many, then you get yourself confused, and you really don't know what's working. Then basically you're just kind of winging it. And then, the point of this is once you get enough data, then you can implement it to every other person that works in your sales floors, and it just becomes an easier process for you. That's basically what we're trying to say.
You're right, absolutely. You don't want to have too many variables, right? So you want to make sure that whatever you're sticking to, maybe you have, one other way that you are trying this, but that's not it. So, George, you had asked, how do you compose an email in order to not present yourself or give an impression of being pushy? This one is actually very, very good at that. And I've seen that in my own companies, building a sales process for 2 of my companies. So, I'm having him here because he is very good at what he does. And I will let you answer that question.
Well, whether it's email, I'm going to focus on the email, but you did ask me about the emails, George, and thank you for the question. You usually have to give me something that's valuable when it comes to the email, and not just just don't send them generic emails that present no value into the customers, especially when it's when it's personal. You have the time to really, even if it's a templates can be valuable to the customer. It has to mean something at that point. They don't come out as pushy, because they're gonna, when they see the email, they're gonna see it as a value to them. And that's really the biggest way of not coming out as pushy. I mean, emails really are not as pushy as really when you're in person, because the emails, what can you do? Just click them and they get rid of them. So they don't really come as pushy as when you're in person with somebody, kind of negotiating in front of, when you're trying to close a deal with somebody face to face.
Right, but just getting back to the emails, how many emails and how far apart should you? And I just want to emphasize too, guys, any interaction you have with a prospect, you need to add value to it, right? So when George writes the emails for our sales process, he puts together templates that we can use. There's always something in there that is providing value to whoever it is that we are contacting, right? So every email has a little something extra, and at the same time, it always sells, right? So in terms of emails, how far apart, how much longer are you going, and then what tool do you use to track whether people are opening those emails or not?
Well, currently we use a tool in Gmail, I think it's Hotspot Hotspot, that lets you know when the emails are open. Like I said, that's a great tool to see if your subject lines are even, are working, people are even opening your emails. Because they now open your emails, and you basically got to switch something up for them to open it. And the first thing you got to do is open the email. If they don't open it, then you have nothing. Obviously, you have the first, you got the first initial email with you initiate contact. Hopefully they will contact you back. Most likely, it's not going to be the case. You're only going to have to send a follow-up email. The follow-up email probably no more than two days after, to see if they open the original email. See if you have any questions, see if they got the original email. Again, putting a call to action to get a response back. They don't answer again, then you have another follow-up email in another 2-3 days again. Okay, that email you might want to go ahead and let them know how important is your service or the product, or the first email you send them to them. And again, another call to action for them to call you back, see how can you get in contact with them, see if they're busy. They might be busy. Remember, we also got to take into consideration with these emails we build. We also make sure that we know that they're busy too. They're not sitting around waiting for you to email them. So you want to make sure.
My emails, everybody waits for.
As a salesperson, as a sales consultant, I always think that my email is the most important one, which is, let's be real, it's not. But that's the way we make it seem. That's why you need to make it seem. It's the most important one. We have to be on top of them. Once it goes, 2-3 days, you already passed almost a week, 2 weeks before you start doing that process. Once they don't start answering, then you like I said, you want to prolong that process a little more, and then focus on the ones that are answering. You don't want to waste too much energy on the ones that are not answering, but you always want to create a process after that that's constantly sending them emails after emails. And again, it takes a little while to build that template and that process and the automated systems. It's a lot of systems that you could build automated to it that'll send them email after email after email.
Right. So just to, and actually George will comment put in the comments kind of exactly what he described right now, because I know some of you may not have a notepad ready, although you should next time. But one of the things that you said, in terms of knowing that people are busy, right? It is important that you respond within a certain amount of time. Okay, and I think one of the things that we get lost in a lot is, well, that person took 3 days to respond, so I'm going to wait 3 days now, right? And we do this in dating too, right? The guy took 2 hours to respond. Well, guess what? But it's the same thing. We can't do that to other people. You have to be responsible for your own actions in terms of your response rate. And again, in terms of the process that he just described, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're emailing somebody, we're giving them the value, and we make sure that they understand that the value of the product is to them. Now, before we even do that email, what do we do before that?
Well, you research the customer. You find out who you're talking to. And when it comes to emailing businesses, you research the business. What moves them? What gets them excited? What based on your product, what is it they're gonna need to hear that they're missing that you could fix for them, that you could solve for them? Because if they see something, just stop.
Sorry guys, we're back. We're here.
Right.
Promise.
If they see something, if they see the solution to the problem in that email, you have a higher chance for them to contact you back. Just, instead of sending a generic email, hey, I'm George.
Right, and in terms of researching it, I had put in the HubSpot, the email tracker, the CRM, which actually draws information in about the person based on their email, which often contains their website address. So it actually brings the information in. The other research tool that you can use is also LinkedIn. Guys, you can use Facebook, okay? You want to find the commonalities between people before you even send out that email. You can find out a lot about the company in there. And at that point, you're literally adding value. You're no longer selling, you're being the solution provider, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you are giving them something by saying, hey, I know you guys are concentrating on getting more people into your store, right? This is something that is going to help you do that. So now you are providing a solution to something they're already looking for. And at that point, your emails are no longer pushy, right? You can email them and email them and email them and follow the process George just described. But as long as you keep adding value to it, and as long as you see that they keep opening that email, which you can do with the email tracker I just mentioned, then you are not being pushy. You are saying, hey, I've got something for you. They have got something for you, okay? It's for you. I have it, but it's for you. So how can we work together so that I can provide this to you, right? So you're helping them. And one of the things that you said in terms of enthusiasm towards the beginning of the slide that I wanted to bring back is that, guys, if you're not in control of your emotions in terms of, you're having a bad day and then you're taking it into the sale or whatever it may be, or the sale is not going the way that you want it to, get excited about those obstacles, right? Because those obstacles and the fact that the client is still there, it means that they want to work with you on getting through those obstacles as well. And as long as you stay excited about the fact that, hey, you're going to be working with me, I'm going to be working with you, I'm here for you, I'm your solution provider, okay, we have a problem, I'm going to find a solution for you, they're going to be excited about that as well.
Yeah.
I'm a great example of that. When I first bought my car, like anything that could have gotten crazy, right? I was 19, so all kinds of things could have gone crazy. But the person who was working with me, I will never forget her. Her name was Maria. Pretty sure her last name was Rivas, but her first name was Maria. And I remember that she really went to bat for me, right? So she made me feel like she was on my team. She wasn't selling me anything. She was on my team. She was helping me get what I wanted, right? So that's very, very important. And part of that is that, you know, she built that relationship. She learned about what I wanted. She looked at any car that I wanted to look at in order for her to really get to know what I want, right? So I think that that's an important part. Before we close this up, do you have anything else to add?
Yes, I want to, based on the enthusiasm, you know, one of the things I learned and I teach my guys and teach my team is that somebody, when you're on the phone and talking to somebody else over the phone, they could tell if you're frowning or not. And people ask, how can they tell? Because by the tone of your voice. And one exercise I always tells my people is that before you pick up a phone call, before you do an email, smile. Just think of smile. Smile to yourself. You know, put a smile. And I guarantee you, your way of speaking on the phone, your tone is going to be completely different. Your tone on your email is completely different. And again, there's a tone in the email. You can tell when somebody's upset or happy, enthusiastic about the email or the phone call. And that's going to help you with the process. Remember, as a salesperson, what you want to do is avoid every possible scenario that's going to help you and give yourself the best tools to close a deal. And I go back to compare to building a house. You cannot build a house with just a hammer. You know, you can't go to hammer and just build a house. You need nails, you need wood, you need saw, you need help, stuff.
You need tools.
So as a salesperson, you gotta build up your toolbox. And when that tool's needed, you're gonna automatically instant come out, boom, and use it. But enthusiastic is a tool that's in your toolbox. And it's also going to play a good role in your life too. If you're enthusiastic about work, trust me, when you go home with your wife, kids, family, girlfriend, and you're going to be enthusiastic about seeing them too.
Well, your final question, because you had brought this up, I wanted for you to share with people, because tools are obviously very important. You want to have a variety of tools, some of which I mentioned in the comments, guys. But and if you are interested in more, just go ahead and comment, and we're happily to give you more tools for that. But how do you, in life, you know, in sales and so on, how do you get these tools? How do you get a variety of these tools beyond the hammer?
Okay, so one way I got the tools when I first started, I listened. A lot of listening, a lot of learning. Just shut this, listen to this. I will pay attention to who is doing better than me next to me. And I will listen to the way they pitch, they talk, they said things. Whatever they said that make good and close the deal, I will try. Maybe it didn't work for me and I had to tweak it from my way, but I will try. Okay, so that's one base tool. Listen to the people that's around you doing better. You know, when I'm saying better, is because you want to learn from those. That's one way to look at tools. Guys, you have the internet. Sit down an hour a day and look up ways to close deals. Ways to interact with the customers, what's working, not working. I mean, those could be valuable tools. A lot of information out there that could help you, that you have to go through, and then you have to, again, take action and try it. Okay? That's another way of going to tools. If you work in a business, if you own your own business, then you have to do that yourself. You have to be, self-motivated, do it yourself and go after it. If you work for a company, you got managers that actually know what they're doing, and they're going to help you. Also you have companies and people like myself that create processes and help people get through that hump and the sales process. A lot of different way tools of learning. The biggest one too is learn from your mistake. A lot of people lie to themselves. When I say lie to themselves, they blame the customer for not closing the deal when the sales could have been them. Could have been something that they could have done different. Just write down what you could have done different and improve on that. And then do it again and over and over and over. And you go minimizing those errors and then giving yourself a better chance of closing deals.
Awesome. Just to give our audience here a couple of tools, can you tell me 2 people or 3? Let's make it 3. 3 tools or 3 people that you are that you listen to or that you get your tools from.
3 people. You're talking about
people,
mentors.
companies, mentors,
well,
gurus.
One of my mentors, and then again, I don't know directly, is Grant Cardone.
Okay.
Grant Cardone, just because his lifestyle, the way he thinks, the way he conducts business, is real. He practices what he preaches. That's somebody that indirectly helps me be motivated and have a better understanding of what I do. People. Well, that was people. I'm gonna go back to the cliche. My father. He's a big tool in my life. He taught me from the beginning how to be a business owner and go after what you want. He also taught me what things not to do. Believe it or not, the things that my father do that I say, I'm not gonna do that because that did not work for him. So sometimes, tool could be, somebody in your life that's not doing the right things, and obviously you see that they're not doing it, so you're not gonna implement that. But he did teach me a lot of good things too.
And podcasts.
Podcasts, man, I got a couple podcasts. Biggerpocket.com podcast. Also listen to a lot of Gary V. Capital One. That was the thing. Capital One is Big Capital, which is also
I love Gary V.
Big Capital. This older gentleman, what was his name? Which actually I was introduced to recently. George. Sorry, guys. Forgot the name.
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar. There you go. Zig Ziglar. I like his way of selling. So, we have podcasts, a lot of audio books. I do also have Audible on my phone, and I do 30 minutes a day of anything related to motivational, sales. Again, Grant Cardone. How to sell, books on selling, anything that has to do with sales motivation. I take 30 minutes a day. I sit down, either I'm in the gym, on the car, or at nighttime. 30 minutes a day, and I listen to that, and that helps me regroup, get ideas, figure out different ways of doing things, and motivate me. So that's one of the biggest things I do is basically 30 minutes a day of Audible. I can't sit down and read a book.
Tony Robbins is fantastic too. Who is the guy that swears a lot? I would say, are you talking about Gary Vee? Maybe
Gary Vee
he's probably who you're talking about, but his real name is Gary Vaynerchuk, who I did tag up top. But fantastic. He's just very real. That's his way of doing it. It doesn't mean that that's how you have to do it. And guys, thank you for joining in today. If you have any other questions, go ahead and let us know. We're going to be keeping track of them and making sure we answer for you. You can either ask me, ask George, ask both of us, whatever you want to do. So thank you guys for tuning in today. And we will be doing our Mindset Mondays, or I will be doing my Mindset Mondays this upcoming Monday, just like every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll be doing another educational one on next Thursday and every Thursday from now on. So make sure that you tune in and learn something new with us. And we always learn from you. So thank you guys very much and have a fantastic